guys, and welcome to Mindfulness Monday. Now, today we're going to learn a technique called the thought cycle. Now, this technique is a little bit long, takes a little bit longer to explain, but once we understand it and we can put it into our everyday life, it has a massive effect on the way we think, the way we feel, and we start to understand where our power is and what we can let go of. A big part of life is accepting what is real and accepting what we can't control. And the thought cycle gives you the basis of understanding this concept. So let's get started because it's a little bit of a long one. And this is the third time I've tried to video this. So everything inside this circle is your life. Now, your life consists of things like your family, your past, friends, school, work, mistakes, things like that. They are all formed as part of your life. Now, everything inside this circle has a couple of things in common. So let's go over what these things are. The first thing about everything inside the circle is we have little or no control. Yes, that's the first thing. We have very little or no control over everything inside that circle. So what do I mean by that? The past. We spend so much time trying to control the past, but yet we have no control over it. It has occurred. It doesn't matter how much we think about it, how unfair it has been, how much we want to blame something from the past. We cannot control or change it, but we spend so much time in there trying to control it. The same with our friends. We spend a lot of time trying to control the way our friends think about us. If our friends think that we are kind, if our friends think that we are amazing, that builds our confidence and self-esteem. But when you learn this thought cycle, you'll quickly understand how much control we don't have over what our friends think about us. So that's the first thing. We have little or no control. The second thing is it's quite neutral. What do I mean by that? Everything in here actually causes no emotion. We put the emotion on everything. So we put the emotion on our past. We decide whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. We decide whether we're going to feel happy, sad, disappointed, angry about anything that's gone on inside the circle. We get to make that choice. So the two things about everything in the circle is one, we have little or no control, and two, it is neutral until we put that emotion on it. So from everything inside the circle, it causes all of our thoughts. Now the thing with our thoughts is we have thousands and thousands every single day. In fact, they say we have over 60,000. The thoughts that we're going to look at are the thoughts that are influenced by everything that goes on in your life. There's a couple of things we need to know about our thoughts. And this is where I'm going to challenge you. Two things about our thoughts. The first thing is they're not always true. They're not always factual. And the second thing is they are a choice. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's go through it. What do I mean by they're not always true? A thought is just a belief that we have. It is our opinion. It is what we choose to believe about something that's gone on. So when I say they're not always true, I'm here to challenge our thinking. Because when we create our habits and our pattern thinking, we just believe it all to be true. But we never challenge it. And often these beliefs and these thoughts are created from when we were very little children. And yet even now we still believe them to be true. So let's look at one of the examples inside the circle and I'll explain what I mean. Let's look at our friends. We go to a party and we tell 5 of our friends the exact same story and we're dressed the same and we're saying it with the same emotion. So in reality, if our thoughts were facts, all 5 people would think the same thing because we're the constant. We have not changed. They are the difference. All 5 people would think the same thing about us and our story if it was true, if everything that we thought was true or factual. But we know that that's not the case. We can speak to 5 different friends and tell the same story in the same tone, dressed in the same clothes, so nothing's changed, and all 5 will have a different opinion, a thought on the story and what it all means. One friend might find it very, very funny. One friend might find it very offensive. One friend might not think much about it at all. One friend might be disappointed that at the ending of the story. One friend might be angry with the way you told the story. So all 5 friends are going to have they might be similar or they might have slightly different thought on you and the story. Which one of your friends is thinking the truth? Which one of your friends' thoughts are a fact? That's where we find the challenge. Now, each friend believes their own thought. They believe their perception of the way I told the story to be true. But I'm here to challenge that they are not always true. And when the thoughts are not working with you, they're not benefiting you, then maybe it's time that we challenge our thinking. And the second thing, so the first thing, our thoughts may not always be a fact or be true. And the second thing, they are a choice. So if we use that friend as an example, we get to choose the way we perceive the story. We get to choose whether we believe that we are who we are today purely because of our past. We get to choose whether our past is going to affect us today and for the future, or whether we're going to let it go. We get to choose whether we hold on to our mistakes. We get to choose whether we want to hold on to our anxiety and not use our anxiety as a strength. So they're the 2 things about our thoughts. They're not always true and they are a choice. The thing with our thoughts influence all of our feelings. And sometimes our feelings are the easiest things for us to recognize. Our sadness, our disappointment, our anger, our happiness. Those emotions can be quite distinct and we can recognize them more than we can recognize our thoughts. But our feelings are always caused by what we're thinking. So when we look at our feelings, then we have total control over our thoughts. They're a choice. We get to choose the way we want to think about everything that's going on in that circle. Therefore, we get to choose how we want to feel. We get to choose if we want to be angry. There's no right or wrong. It's your choice. But often when we were growing up, we were told things like, did Sally make you feel sad? Or you made your sister feel upset. We get taught that our feelings are caused by everything in that circle. So what in essence we're saying is our friend Sally holds the power to make us feel a certain way. Now that's really scary, because what we're saying then, if Sally doesn't do something different, we can't change how we feel. Yet if we accept that our feelings are caused by our thoughts and our thoughts are a choice on how we want to think about Sally, we actually have the power to change that emotion when we want. We all of a sudden have that power, and we have no longer handed it over to our friend Sally. And that, my friend, is very, very liberating. Our thoughts are caused by what's going on in the circle. Our thoughts influence our feelings. Our feelings cause all of our actions, or our lack of actions. So what we do in our everyday life are caused by how we're feeling. If we are feeling motivated, we then do the actions. We then actually create the work. If we are feeling sad, we don't work in the same way. We don't do the same things. If we are feeling happy, we behave very, very differently. You just think about any scenario. When you are feeling confident, how do you act? Do you walk into a room that little bit taller, and when you talk in a different way? You show other people that you are feeling confident, and that is portrayed in all of your actions. When you are feeling like you have low self-esteem, or you are feeling negative about yourself, how do you behave? Do you walk taller, or are you more likely to be slumped and down and whispering and be more quiet? Your behavior is a result on how you are feeling. So if we get to choose our thoughts, we get to decide what all this means, then we get to decide how we want to feel. We also then get to decide, we also get to take responsibility on what we do and don't do. All too often, this part of our life is where we blame. It's not my fault that I didn't get the job done. It's not my fault that I didn't get the promotion. It's not my fault. I blame someone else for my actions or my lack of actions. But the actions, your behavior, is your responsibility. And when we take ownership of it, we can change it. If we blame someone else, we can't change it. We need them to do something different. Our actions cause our now. Whatever is happening in your life right now is always caused by what you've done. I'm currently filming a video. This is my action, and that is causing what is happening in my life right now. I am feeling confident that I can spread the message to you guys so that you can empower yourself to change whatever part of your life you want. That is my thought. I'm empowering. I believe that I can empower all you guys. And because I believe that, my thought, I'm feeling very confident whilst I'm doing this video, and this is what's happening now in my life. The thing with the now, our now tries to always confirm our thoughts. The reason we know this is the brain just likes to keep us happy. Just to whatever we choose to think, the brain finds all the evidence to prove that it is true to keep us happy. If I choose to think that I'm useless, the brain's going to find all the evidence just to prove that I'm useless. It just wants to make you happy. And if your choice of a thought is that you're useless, the brain's going to find all the evidence that you are. If you choose to think that you are worthy, then your brain's going to find all the evidence to find that you are worthy, because that is your choice. That is what you choose to believe. Have you ever heard of the saying, where the energy goes, the action flows? It's that. Wherever we decide to put our energy, we start to see things grow in that area. So this is the basics of the thought cycle. Our thoughts cause our feelings influence our behavior gives our result of what's happening now, and what is happening now wants to confirm our thoughts. Now, most people, when they learn this, they go, okay, so if I start to find out what I'm thinking and I don't like it, I'm just going to make a massive change and everything's done. The only problem with that is we can't change things until we accept. And acceptance is one of the hardest things. I think I said earlier in the video, accepting is one of the hardest things because it's a pattern, it's a habit of way of thinking. It's very hard to accept things like life's not fair. Life has never ever been fair, and it never will be fair. If life was fair, we would all be in the same situation. We would all be healthy. Little children wouldn't pass away. There wouldn't be third world countries with children starving. There wouldn't be cruelty to animals. If life was fair, these things wouldn't happen. But all too often we hold on to that belief, that thought that life should be fair. And I'm not saying it shouldn't. I'm just challenging our thinking. When you accept that life isn't fair, that changes that thought, which changes our feelings, which changes what we do, and changes our now. We stop holding on to trying to change the fact that life isn't fair. We stop trying to change everything in there that we can't change, and we start working on the things that we can. We can work on our thoughts. We can change our thoughts. We can change our feelings, which ultimately changes what we do, which gives us a different result. If you want a different result in your life, work on what you can control, which is your thoughts, feelings, behavior, and start to accept what we can't control, which is everything inside that circle. When we let that go, our power changes. And we make some massive changes in our life that result in however we choose to believe. So this is the thought cycle, everyone. Any questions, feel free to message me, but I hope you enjoy. Have a great Monday.